Hello and welcome to managingwithmoney.com. In this video we are going to talk about the various types of debt and what can happen if you fall behind in the payments. Please have a pen and paper ready and take as many notes as you like. You can also rewind the video at any time if you're not sure about any points we make. At the end of the video there will be a short quiz. Once you have completed Managing with Money course, we will total your marks and issue you with a certificate of achievement. In this video we are going to talk about some other types of debts that we need to discuss separately. We will start with hire purchase, or as it's sometimes called HP. HP agreements are different from ordinary credit agreements. With an HP agreement there are certain rules which apply, including: you can't sell the goods until the money's paid off. Creditors can ask you to return the goods if you don't make regular payments. If they do ask, you must return the goods and not a cash equivalent. Hire purchase is different from ordinary credit agreements. With normal agreements you own the goods as soon as you buy the goods with cash or credit. But with HP you don't own the goods until the last payment is made. This means you can't sell the goods, alter them or change it in any way. Many HP agreements are for cars which may be essential for work. If you fall behind with the payments, the creditor can get a court order to repossess the item. Depending how long you have had the agreement will decide whether there is any money due back to you. Water rates arrears. If you fall behind with your water payments, your water supplier cannot disconnect you. But they will take other action to try to get you to pay the debt. They can apply for a county court judgment against you. There is a special reduced tariff for vulnerable consumers and for households where there is a high usage of water for medical reasons. Consider installing a water meter to reduce your water bill. Water rates and arrears used to be considered a priority debt. But now the water companies cannot disconnect the supply. So it is now classed as a non-priority debt. Nonetheless, action will still be taken to recover the debt. Most new homes are now built with meters installed, so you pay for what you use, which seems a fairer way to pay. In many cases consumers can request moving to a meter and try it out to see if it's cheaper. There are guaranteed lower charges for households which for various reasons use more water than others. The local water authority will provide you with details. The creditors, or the people you owe the money to, will contact you via letter and other ways depending on their debt recovery procedures. At some point they may decide to pass your debt on to a debt collection agency or even a solicitor. They will be keen to talk to. They will ring you at home, on your mobile, at work if they have your number, or send a text. The main purpose is to open discussions with you and make some arrangement for you to start repaying the debt. They may even offer you a reduced total to settle the debt, which may be available for a short period, or they might tell you about what further action they can legally take. For example, take you to court, sending bailiffs to call at your home and possibly going to jail. Remember, this debt is a priority debt as we have already discussed. They will say it could affect your credit rating, and it will be harder to find credit in the future. Some creditors may call at your home, or even at your place of work, which can make things very embarrassing for you. However, there are strict codes of practice for what creditors can and cannot do. Over recent years most creditors have become easier to talk to, and they realize the best results for everyone concerned is to maintain a polite and professional dialogue. Of course, it's important to remember that the creditor may not have got it right. You might not owe anything or the amount could be wrong. They are quite capable of making a mistake. So you need to know whether you owe anything or not. It's well worth checking the original paperwork or contract if you have it. If you do not have the original, request a copy to be sent to you. In far too many instances elderly and vulnerable people automatically accept the invoice or demand as correct and pay up without making sure it's valid. If you feel the invoice or the demand is incorrect, you should tell the creditor as soon as possible. Contact them via phone or in writing if possible and send recorded delivery. So how do you handle the debts? Let's start to look at how to handle the debts and the recommended steps to take. Citizens Advice Bureaus, welfare rights teams, or download our fact sheet from Managing with Money. All debt advice centers will recommend the first step is to start talking to someone. This can be easier said than done in many cases. There can be many barriers for you, To take advice, for example. Personal barriers. Inability to cope. You may think it's private and none of anyone's business. Shame and embarrassment about your mistakes. Morally wrong and taboo. Don't want to burden family and friends. Not too serious, something will turn up. Just burying your head in the sand and hoping it will go away. Knowledge barriers. Not sure where to go. Unsure of the consequences. Nervous about doing the wrong thing. Not understanding the jargon used in the media, for example. IVA, DRO, DMC, and the like. Uncertain about the costs. Remember, you can get lots of advice for free and it will be confidential. You should never have to pay independent commercial companies for help and advice. Sometimes there are accessibility barriers such as Citizens Advice Bureau, the length of time it takes for an appointment. But your financial problems have to sort it out. It will be worth the wait. Inconvenience for those working. Your financial problems will not go away. So you must make the time. It really is as important as a doctor's or hospital appointment. Inconvenience or time restraints for those working. Not aware of other options to get help, for example, phone, online advice that's available to you 24/7. If you live in a rural communities, this could cause extra challenges to accessing help, as most citizens' advice offices are in the main towns or cities, so you may have to travel. If you know of anyone who has suffered debt problems or perhaps it's affecting you, then you might recognize some of these headings on the slides. They normally ring alarm bells for people with money issues. It's not just personal reasons that stop people asking for help. It's the lack of knowledge and not knowing what to do. In our one-to-one work with people and their debt problems, we often find them almost paralyzed by fear and scared to do anything, and end up doing nothing, which often makes the situation worse. At first glance, it's a complicated subject and there is jargon associated with debt that can confuse people. Later in this lesson we will explain DROs and DMCs and other terms that you might come across. One important message to get across is that the best advice, whether it be Citizens Advice or from one of the debt charities, will be free and confidential. You should never pay for the best debt advice. Being in debt is not a nice place to be, and it can seriously impact on your health. Many people may have a couldn't care less, something will turn up attitude, but our experience is that many people will display some of these symptoms. Not able to sleep well. Lack of appetite. Difficulty in concentrating. Lack of motivation. Withdrawal from family and friends. Anxiety and depression. All of these conditions need to be dealt with as soon as they appear. There is now a dedicated NHS helpline for stress. As we have already mentioned, sometimes getting in touch can be difficult, but it's an important first step. If no contact is made, the creditor will continue their action to recover their debt. This can go on for quite a while, weeks, months even, and it is unlikely to go away. If a creditor has had no response to their attempts to collect missing payments, or putting a new repayment arrangement in place, or collecting the full amount of the debt you owe, the creditor may decide they have no alternative than to go to county court to recover the debt that is owed. If the creditor wins a county court judgment or a CCJ against you, the following will happen. A county court judgment allows a judge to decide how much you can afford to pay back towards your debt each month by installments. If you miss a court payment, your creditor can try and enforce the debt through a warrant to instruct bailiffs to visit you, an attachment of earning order, or deductions from benefits, or a charging order. This might involve the creditor taking you to court to obtain a county court judgment. They are often referred to as CCJs. You will be notified in writing that the creditor is going to take you to court, and you will receive an official-looking pack of documents, asking if you admit the debt, or whether you dispute it. Perhaps you might think it's all the wrong way round and that they owe you money. If this is the situation, you must respond quickly. There are strict timescales to meet submitting to the court what you wish to do. There will be court fees added on, and maybe solicitors' costs too. If the CCJ goes ahead and is successful, your credit rating will be worsened. There is also the option to pay the debt in full, or put forward a repayment plan to pay off the debt over a period of time. The court will want to know how much you can realistically afford to pay after making essential payments, such as rent or mortgage, council tax, gas, electricity, TV license, food. The court will need details of your work income and benefits you may be receiving. They do not expect you to live on fresh air, but they expect you to make realistic suggestions. You are not expected to attend the court hearing as they are held in Northampton. However, you can request the case to be heard in your local area, if you want to defend your case, or appear in court. If you have not provided any defense, the court will go ahead and grant the CCJ. The court will also decide how much they require you to pay back on a monthly basis. If they have no information about income and expenditure, they will decide their own amount of repayment. This payment could be quite high. If you get in touch quickly, you can get that amount reduced, but you need to act quickly. Now let's talk about bailiffs. And the golden rules, if you have to deal with them. First, do not let them into your home. Secure all windows and doors. Check their ID and take note of it, if you can video or tape and any actions or conversations you have. It may help you in the future. At this point, if there is still no response or payments made, the creditor is likely to return to court and ask for a warrant, so that bailiffs can be instructed and arrangements will be made for them to come to your home. They are also known as enforcement officers. They normally arrive unannounced. They will have identification and court documentation with them to show to you. It is always worth checking that this paperwork is in order. It is their job to collect the full amount of the debt or to make an arrangement for you to repay the debt. At this stage, the recovery process is well advanced now, and there is not much that can be done to challenge the proceedings. If there is still no agreement, the bailiff will ask to come into your property to see if you have any goods or assets that can be seized and taken away to be sold at an auction. This is very important, because bailiffs are only allowed into your home with your permission. In the past, there have been many stories of bailiffs making excuses to get into the house, such as asking to use the toilet, or to make a phone call, asking for a cup of tea, or to get out the rain. But legally, you are perfectly entitled to refuse them access. Nowadays, most bailiffs are very professional, often with cameras to record what happens. By law, they can get inside through any open door or window, but this rarely happens. This is why you should not open your door to the bailiffs. Also, make sure all other doors and windows are locked. Calling the police is unlikely to stop bailiffs. The police will attend if they are contacted, but they will only confirm the process as explained before. They will only take action if the law is broken, for example, disturbing the peace, or if there is a threat of violence, or actual violence is used. If the bailiff is allowed access to the home, they will not remove goods straight away. They will list all items of value that are owned by the person who owes the debt. If they try to list any items owned by someone else, they can't do so. But you may need to prove ownership by showing a receipt or invoice that someone else owns the goods. Bailiffs can't take everything, and they must leave you with basic household items, including a cooker or microwave, a fridge and a washing machine. They can include on their list electrical goods, jewelry. If there are any vehicles involved, which of course are likely to be outside the house, any vehicle has to be free of any finance. If they do this, they need to estimate how much they think the items would make at an auction to repay the debt. They will list all the items and issue you with your own copy and a repayment plan. It is only if you fail to keep up the payments that there will be any possibility of the bailiffs returning to take the listed items away. Matters have come to a serious state by this stage, and it may be worthwhile to contact Citizens Advice Bureaus, Step Change Debt Charity or National Debt Line. The contact numbers and web addresses can be downloaded from our website. Please be aware of any debt advice companies who offer help but then ask for a deposit or payment for help. All the advice you need can be provided for free by the previously mentioned agencies, and all advice is confidential. Thank you for watching.